Here we're going to take a look at using the new contact system to make contact assignments to different areas within our properties. There's two different types of contacts in the Contacts tab or in the contact system in Broker Brain, what we call hidden and visible contacts. Visible contacts are contacts that can be reused over and over and over from one property to the next. So you maybe would make one contact in your Contacts tab and then assign that contact to multiple properties throughout your system. The hidden type of contact would be a contact that is tracked in the contact system. You can use the contact system to add them to different areas within the property, but they aren't going to be found in the Contacts tab. Therefore, they cannot be reused from property to property. For instance, occupants are very unique individuals. You're not going to have the same occupant from house to house to house to house. You're going to have unique occupants almost every single time. Therefore, it doesn't make sense for us to litter your Contacts tab with a bunch of occupants that you would never need to use more than once. Now, the contacts that can be used more than once will have types that you can see in the Contacts tab. For example, escrow companies, eviction coordinators, eviction attorneys. So in this situation, we've already got assignments to these different areas within this property, and we'd like to add additional points of contact. Previously in Broker Brain, you could have one point of contact per section per property. You can now add as many points of contact for each section as you would like. So for example, we're going to go to our escrow contact section and click the Add button. Now we have two different options here of contacts that we haven't already used that are escrow companies in our system. We have a Jim Doe and a John Doe. We've already assigned Jane, therefore she's not going to show up here again. Otherwise, it would be pointless to make a double assignment of the same person twice in one property. So I could choose to use John Doe, and when I click the Use button, let me move this dialog down. When I click the Use button, you're going to see that John Doe is now added up above as a contact for this property's escrow. And you see that the word down below has changed from used to added. And if we wanted to add Jim, we can add Jim too. So we've now added all the escrow companies in our contact system to this particular property. Now if we had a fourth contact, or we've got a contact that didn't show up in our dialog down here, I could actually add a new contact right from this dialog without going back to the Contacts tab. So we've got Jane, Jim, John, and how about Julie Doe as contacts as well. And so we now have 4 points of contact for this area within our system. Now the difference between green and the yellow color is green is our primary and then yellow are our secondary contacts for the property. And if we find out later on down the road that John is actually our primary contact, the arrow that points up is considered our Make Primary Contact button. So when I click that, you'll see that John now scoots to the front of the list, becomes green, and it's designated as our primary contact. Later down the road, we decide that Julie really isn't going to be a point of contact anymore, so you can remove a contact assignment by clicking the trash can. You'll get a verification dialog confirming that you'd like to delete this assignment, and when I hit OK, you'll see that Julie has now been removed in her assignment here. The contact still exists in your Contacts tab. We never delete that. We're just removing this particular assignment. So much more power here in terms of how many points of contact you can add in each individual section. We also have this little info bubble next to each person's name, and what that is gives you a quick way to look at that person's contact information and bring up a little business calling card for that person with their name, company, phones, emails, addresses, and any other information you've entered for that contact in the contacts section. And you can click on any contact anywhere to get this information. And you can also click the Edit Contact to go in and make an adjustment to their information without having to leave the property and go to the Contacts tab to do that. So before I mentioned that we have these hidden contact types, and you saw before when we clicked Add under Escrow Contacts, and I'll do it again, that we are given a list of other escrow contacts that we have in the system to make an assignment. And if this list were really long, you could click in here and type a search word for the company name or the contact name, and it'll filter this list down for you so you can find exactly what you're looking for. Now in some instances, such as an occupant, when you click the Add button, you'll notice that it doesn't bring up a search dialog. It immediately takes us into an Add New Contact dialog. The reason for this is because this type of contact in occupants is not a reusable contact type, so your only choice is to add a new contact here. And I'm just going to add myself as the contact for the occupant here and click Add, and you will see that I am now assigned as the occupant for this particular property. And I can add as many as I would like. I could add my brother to this, or my best friend, or my roommate, or whoever this was. We'll pretend like, oh, let's say, how about Greg Howard was my roommate, and we're going to add them as a occupant contact type as well. So you can see we can add as many occupants to this property as we want. We just can't add, pick Greg or myself as already being as an occupant contact for this property, and then pick us as an occupant for the other property or a different property. You'd have to enter that information each time in those areas. And when you click Remove Assignment here, you are fully removing the contact from the system, which is not a big deal because they're not visible under your Contacts tab anyways. So you'll find throughout the system that you have areas where you, when you click the Add button, you will see a dialog with suggestions of other typed contacts, and you'll see this list. And in other areas, when you click the Add button, you will see an Add Contact dialog open up, and that is strictly because those contact types cannot be reused within the system.